Happy New Year. It's the Smarty Jones Stakes. It's 2023. Let's go. What's up, everyone? It is New Year's Day race. I mean, technically, it is not quite New Year's Day, but we are recording this the night before New Year's Eve, so close enough. Colin, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, Alombre. It's great to see these 2-year-olds turning to 3 on the past performances. I had to take a second look because on January 1st, all horses, thoroughbreds, it's their birthday. So all the 2-year-olds you've been following on the trail to the Derby are now 3 on your past performances. So we have our very first 3-year-old race, the Smarty Jones at Oaklawn. As you said on New Year's Day, that is race 8 on your program.
Yep, we've got an 8-horse field going a mile at Oaklawn Park. I don't know. It's a pretty interesting field. I think we chatted a little bit about this race beforehand, and I think we might have a few differences of opinion. But we'll run right through 1 through 8 in order. First off, this is a points race for the Derby. I believe it's 10 points to win.
10 to win, and then 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way down to 5th place.
It's kind of ridiculous to get the 1 point, but I guess if it comes down to a tiebreaker later in the season, who knows? But I think if you get 5th place in the Smarty Jones Stakes, you're probably not destined for the Derby, but I digress. All right, let's kick it off. Number 1, CJ Storm. Angel Rodriguez, Johnny Horan, 30-1 morning line odds. Were you seeing number 1, CJ Storm, the Indiana bred?
So one thing I went through when I looked at this race is this is being run at a mile at Oaklawn. An important thing to think about at Oaklawn, the mile races, the finish line is at the mile in the 16th pole. So horses that are on the front end is more likely where you kind of want to be. But for me, you also have horses in here that haven't gone 2 turns. So that's going to be an important part of this as well. CJ Storm does have a win over the distance. That was his maiden breaker at Indiana. Last race was that race where Tyler's Tribe came back, if you remember, after the Breeders' Cup. 5.5 furlongs in the mud. CJ Storm doesn't do it for me. I think you got some better horses in here. So although he does match what I said about having a win over the distance, he won't be on my ticket.
Yeah, same. I have he's just out of his league here. He is outclassed by at least 6 of the 8 here. So it's an instant toss for me. No play, no underneath play, none of that. Number 2, how did he do that? Terrible name. Steve Asmussen horse. Ike Castillo in the irons. We got a 12-1 morning line. What's your take on the 2?
So he will show early speed, which, as I said, with the with the 16th finish line, that may benefit him. But trying 2 turns for the first time, he was 1.5 lengths behind last time out. Or I'm sorry, he was a length and a half behind 10 days later, who's another horse in here. Steve Asmussen has 2 horses in this race, as you'll see, the number 2 and the 3. How did he do it, or how did he do that, does not make my ticket either. How about you?
Yeah, same. I have the negatives on him. He's never done 2 turns. And this ain't Remington Park or Zia Park, folks. This is the big leagues, and I think he's outclassed. A little bit surprised that he's even a 12-1 morning line. I don't know. I don't see it there either. I think it's an instant toss.
Yeah, maybe Asmussen. So Asmussen plus Good Magic, maybe. I don't know. 12-1 does seem a little low.
Let's move on to the other Asmussen horse, like you said, the 3 Communication Memo. Ricky Santana Jr., who's a Prophet's favorite, one of the favorites for us. Over the years, he's been good to us. 5-1 morning line, the Kentucky bred. Communication Memo, where are you out on him?
Communication Memo is my pick for this race. I think Steve Asmussen, obviously, 0 for 23 in the Kentucky Derby. He also lost his number 1 contender in Extra Anejo. Don't know that Communication Memo steps up to take that spot, but this horse does have a win at the mile, and it's at Oaklawn Park, which I like. Going back to his first race, Alombre is going to know why I love this one. His first race, he lost to Loggins. Then he raced against Victory Fortune, who we'll talk about later. I'm sorry, Victory Formation. That race was at 6.5 furlongs. He also lost second to Corona Bolt. Corona Bolt came back to win the Sugar Swirl last weekend. So he has the win at the distance at Oaklawn, and he's shown early speed. As I mentioned, I want a horse with the early speed in this race because of how I think it might set up. So Communication Memo, especially at 5-1, is on top pick for me. You?
Yeah, that was my first. That was my first question. You really think you're going to get 5-1? I don't think so. I think it's going to drip more like 3-1 probably. But in any case, yeah, I definitely think the horse is live, has a shot to win it. Love the jockey trainer combo. Yeah, 5-1 morning line. If you get anywhere near that, yeah, I think he's got a shot to win. I definitely like him as an underneath play, if nothing else. But he's got to be included on all tickets.
Yeah, nobody's raced out of that last race, December 16th. So you can't tell how strong of a field that was based on what they've done after that. But I like what I saw at the mile distance, so I am going to put him on top.
Yeah, and we got an 8-horse field, and for me there was 4 easy tosses and then 4 very live horses, and that is the first of 4 for me on the 3. The next up we have the number 4 Western Gent, however you say that. Christian Torres, Dwayne Lucas, 30-1 morning line odds. Anything interesting on the 4-horse for you? Do you think he's got a shot at a big price?
Oof, not really. I mean, the one positive thing you might be able to say is that 3 out of his last 4 races have been at the graded stakes, but he hasn't really been close at all. Last was in the Kentucky Jockey Club. He was 9th place, 29 lengths behind. You watch the replay, they cut off before you even see him cross the finish line. Sired by American Pharaoh. But for me,
hey, there's a positive,
I guess, right? I mean, and the price will be nice for you too, but I'm going to pass on Western Ghent.
Yeah, it's another insta toss. So 3 out of the first 4, which tells you that we've got some of the big dogs coming up. Yeah, I've got nothing on Western Ghent. I don't know. 30-1. It could be 3,000-1. Still probably wouldn't bet them. Let's move on. Number 5, 10 days later, Kentucky bred Davy Cabrera with Kenny, the douchebag McPeak as the trainer. 7-2 morning line. Fair or no at that morning line for the 5 for you?
Probably fair. I think I have that last race that he ran in as a key race. If you go back and check out the Trust of Profits, we did a top 5 stretch runs of the Kentucky Derby Trail, and this race was one of those with Confidence Game and Rocket Can having a tremendous stretch duel. 10 days later, picked up 3rd place in that race. Also, 4th place in that race was Hit Show, and Hit Show came out to win his next out. He's a strong closer, and as I said, with that mile and the 16th, or with that 16th pole finish line, he's got to be moving a little bit faster. I think because he is a closer, he's a horse that I'll use underneath. So maybe not to win, but I'm going to have him second in my exacta bet. How about you?
Yeah, same underneath play for sure. We'll get at the end of the video. We'll tell you what our recommended bets are. But yeah, he's definitely an underneath play. I think 7-2 is pretty fair too. I think him and the 3 probably in that second and third choices on the betting that post time betting odds. So yeah, I like the 5. I think he's definitely playable. Up next, the 6, the other McPeak horse with Frankie Arrieta, Dennington. 4-1 morning line odds. Also looks live. Where are you at on the 4 Dennington?
I like Dennington. This is the gray number 3 here in his last race. This is the Kentucky Jockey Club. So he's the 3. He's out of the screen right now, but when they come around the turn, you will see him. And I put an arrow on top of him as they come around the far turn and get into the stretch, because you'll notice he has some run. He just has too much traffic. So there he is. You're picking him up there in your screen. He's the gray horse. And here comes the arrow on top of him right there. He tries to go by and the 6 goes out in front of him with him. He then tries to get out and the 8 is in front of him. He then has to go out further again. And now he starts to make his run, and watch this 8. The 8's going to come back out in front of him again, okay? Now watch him finish. The 7's to the outside. He beats the 7 to the line, and he beats all the inside horses as well. So he, on your past performance there, it's a 5th place finish. But I really liked that effort. And I think he's going to be a good closer, and I think he could certainly be there. He's raced twice at the distance with a second place, and he's won at a mile and a 16th over the Churchill Downs surface. I know we're at Oaklawn. So for Dennington, I have him as another horse I'm going to put on top. I'm going to put the 3 Communication Memo and the 6 Dennington on top for me, on top of my Exacta. How do you think about him?
This is I'm fading Dennington. I'm leaving him off the ticket, but only because like that was everything that could have went wrong there did go wrong for him in that clip. Obviously, he had shifted lanes about 10 times. A lot of traffic belts on that stretch run. Still finished good. He's got a chance. I mean, I don't think he's going to win, but I definitely think he could be underneath. But I had to draw the line and look for a price to hopefully hit the board, and I'll get to that in a minute here. But yeah, I left him off the ticket. That's the horse that'll bite me. I think if anybody's going to come up and beat my ticket, it will be this 6. But I don't think he's a shot to win. But putting him on top, I think he is going to hold that 4-1 or maybe even higher. I think at post time. So yeah, you'll get a price if you're right.
One other thing I'll add is this horse has shown some the ability to both be on the lead and run well, and also close well. So I like that. And if you go 3 back, Tappett's Conquest on October 1st. That was an impressive race. I'm waiting to see Tappett's Conquest return. The second horse there, I don't know how to say his name, Pyrenisi, I believe, is another one. I had that race circled as one that I'm interested to see back. So we'll see. I like Dennington.
Okay, number 7, Angel of Empire, Pennsylvania bred. Brad Cox is first to 2 here. 15-1 morning line, Joey Talamo. And I got news for you guys. I'm not a Talamo fan. A few years ago when he was up and coming, several years ago, I guess now, but thought he was going to be the next big thing. He really hasn't panned out. And it's not a negative thing I'm saying about him. He hasn't worked for me. And I think, I don't know, statistically, he just hasn't been great, but I do at a price. I think this is the type of horse that could get mixed into the trifecta somehow on the back end and really make it pay. So that's the only reason I'm including him in my tickets, but I don't think he's a threat to win at all, but I think at a price, he's a threat to be in the top 3. So he will be underneath for me. Where are you at with the 7 Angel of Empire?
One thing I thought was interesting before I talk about him is look at the trainers and the post positions. You don't see that very often. Asmussen.
I almost wondered if it was when I was first reading through the PPs. I can't remember what site I was looking at first, but I was thinking the same thing. Like, is this just sorted by trainer, or is it actually the post position? So yeah, I think the same thing.
It's interesting. I agree with you as well as maybe a horse underneath for 3rd. I didn't put him on my Exacta. He may be the one I kick myself on. It's Brad Cox, who's just been absolutely on fire, so you have to respect that. The horse also has 2 wins at a mile in 2 tries. You have to respect that. Moving up in class, he hasn't raced in 48 days. The speed figures were a little light. That's why I ended up moving against Angel of Empire. However, you guys mentioned it on the lounge the other night. These 2, although now 3-year-olds, can mature really quickly and shoot up, right? Like you had the analogy of a 9th grader in high school, and you got a guy next to you and you got a 12-year-old next to you. So obviously I don't have eyes on the horse. Coming from Indiana, I decided to leave him off my ticket, but I'm a little nervous with the Cox angle.
I'll just take it a step further too. The other reason why I added him underneath was there's 4 long shot horses here, right? And I think this is by far the best of those 4. So if anybody's going to get up and involved at a price, it's him. I don't think the 1, 2, or 4 has a shot, and I think the 7 could hit the ticket. Again, I don't think he can win, but
yeah, I agree with that.
If he even gets 3rd, he's going to help that trifecta out a lot.
Yep.
So wrapping it up, the 8-horse Victory Formation, Flavo Pratt, the second half of the Beacocks barn here. And this is the heavy favorite at 6-5 morning line. And I have a feeling the horse is going to go off at 1-1 odds or less. So I think this is going to be the big betting choice here. Everything I was reading leans towards that. I personally don't think this horse is an absolute lock to win. Like I think a lot of the people I read had him kind of as a shoe-in, or at least a very heavy favorite. Where did you come out on the 8?
So as I mentioned, that top 5 finishes that we have, this was another one. His last race with Victory Formation and 2 Eagles River. One thing to pay attention to is that 2 Eagles River, I believe, is entered to run on Saturday at Oaklawn. So you want to pay attention to how that horse does, because it might give you a little hint on how Victory Formation will perform on Sunday. That was a really gritty win that he had. He was passed in the stretch by Two Eagles River, took a peek over. Saez was riding him that day. I tweeted out that I thought Victory Formation turned his head and saw the horse and all of a sudden stepped it in another gear. The wonderful Steve Bick commented and said, I believe it was Saez that kind of pulled the rein so that he saw the horse, and the horse just took off. The question about Victory Formation, which I'm sure you read about, is the distance. This horse has only gone 6.5 furlongs and 6 furlongs. So the big question here is if he will handle the 2 turns and running at a route. And 6 to 5 or even money, whatever he is, because of that question mark for me, and especially that the sire's average winning distance is under 6.5 on a tap writ. To me, that is just a reason that I'm going to pass. I'll keep him underneath because of the talent I saw in that stretch. But I decided to go with the 2 prices of Dennington and Communication Memo before I picked Victory Formation. I do like this horse because of what I saw in that stretch run, but I'm just going to decide to take a stand against.
Yeah, I mean, I did the same thing. I want to, let's just get into how we bet it, I guess. But yeah, Pratt's traveling for this race. You know, it shows that they want this horse. They think this horse is going to win. And as we mentioned already a couple times, a lot of the quote unquote experts around the industry have that horse as the top choice with a bullet. For that reason, what you said was that you think the 8 is strong, may not get on top. I think he could easily win, but I don't think he's the lock. Like I said, that's why I'm doing a key box, trifecta key box with the 8. 8 is the key horse, but doesn't have to win. He just needs to be in the top 3 because I think is a lock to be in the top 3 unless something goes real sideways. But and then I'm going to put the 3, 5, and the 7 at the price that we mentioned underneath for the trifecta. So that's a $9 bet there. I'm sorry, $18 bet at the $1. Where'd you go on it? How are you betting this? You said the 3, 6 on top.
3, 6 on top over the 3, 5, 6, 8. I'll check the probables with that 8, 3, 6 over the 8, because if it's going to cost me money and not cover my bet, I may just take the 8 out because I think there's question marks. The horse has only raced twice. He's been on the lead both times. He's going to be breaking out of the 8th slot. His previous 2 races, he's been on the inside. You do want that early speed. He's shown that early speed in a mile at Oaklawn, but I'm just going to take a shot against him. And if he gets wide and is behind horses and then you don't know about the distance, maybe he doesn't get into that top 3. And those ones that I had mentioned earlier will be the ones that I'm hoping to take a shot with. So I go 3, 6 over the 3, 5, 6, 8 for $1 exacta.
If he's out of the top 2 or 3, it's going to be a good payouts all around.
I wish this was a Tour de Force race.
Yeah, I prefer that he gets 3rd, actually, for my tri-key box, but put that 7 up on top at 15 to 1. But anyway, anybody can dream, right? So yeah, I think it's an interesting race. I'm excited to kick off 2023. We're getting into Kentucky Derby prep season, Triple Crown prep season. Second best time of year to Breeders' Cup to me. I know it's for a lot of cappers and horse racing fans, it's the best time of year. And it is a close second, Derby prep season. So I'm excited to get 2023 started and Tour de Force started with all the Triple Crown preps.
We'll grab the, we'll put the sign up in the description, right? For the Tour de Force. Absolutely. If anybody's watching, it's a great tournament that we have. All the money goes to the prize pool. We're not making any money off of this. You get a $100 bet for every single prep race. It keeps you in tune with what's happening. It helps you figure out how you might bet. We have one bet for $100 that you're going to put in for each race. And it's a lot of fun. And there's a lot of big names on there. We're pulling in the heavy hitters this year. So we're up to 70, I think you said, and everyone should join in.
Trying to get it to 100. I think we're already on target for the biggest season so far. This is season 5. Already the biggest one so far, and would like to get it to 100. I think that's a realistic goal with about 3 weeks until it kicks off with the LeCompte Stakes. But yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. Come on, get involved, prove yourself. Like Colin said, there's a lot of great cappers. So come see if you can hang with the big boys. You might surprise yourself. I know there's been a couple guys that kind of came out of nowhere and competed very nicely. And the prize pool, the winner is going to be guaranteed at least $1,000. So,
and there's
gonna be
weekly wins. So even if you fall way behind, you can still, if you get the highest win of that week, you basically get half your money back. So 2 wins and you're in it for nothing.
Yep. Follow us on Twitter, and you can get all the information on this tournament. And like Colin said, we'll put the link in the description of this video too. So thanks everyone for checking it out. Good luck at the Smarty Jones. Happy New Year. Anything else to close it out, Colin?
That's it. Looking forward to next year. Let's do it.
Good luck, everybody. Peace.